Good morning and welcome to NewsWare's Trade Talk for Tuesday, April 7th. Okay, let's get into the action. Take a look at the S&Ps, which are trading lower. We're down 0.59%. We were higher earlier this morning, but the market sentiment has turned. I mean, we got a lack of clarity going on in the markets. And if there's one thing that causes the markets to be weak, it's a lack of clarity. And that's what we have right now because, you know, the hopes for a ceasefire agreement with Iran have really essentially faded. And President Trump does have his 8 p.m. deadline, which is tonight, for Iran to agree to a ceasefire. Iran rejected the proposal for a 45-day ceasefire already because they want a more permanent solution. And if they don't agree to this ceasefire, President Trump is threatening a major escalation if they don't agree to it. So Iran has really nothing to lose. They can't take on the U.S. militarily. The only thing they can do is go use their proxies and go after, you know, the shipping lanes and go after Israel and Saudi Arabia and the UAE with, you know, a combination of missiles and drone attacks, which they have been, you know, doing already, and it is creating havoc. You see that the Strait of Hormuz is pretty much closed down. There are some ships going through, but it's nothing like the volume that it was before. And President Trump wants that open, but you know, this conflict between the two, Iran has nothing to lose because they can't really agree to it. You know, on the economic calendar today, you know, you have that February durable goods order that is due out. In corporate news, those health insurers are on fire this morning. The CMS finalized their 2027 Medicare payment with a 2.48% increase, sending the health insurers stocks higher by, 6, 7, 8%. Casey Stores, ticker CASY, they're being added to the S&P 500 on Thursday. DocuSign, or DigitalOcean, DOCN, they're going to be replacing Casey Stores in the S&P 400. Broadcom, AVGO to supply AI chips to Google, that's positive. On the earnings front, Levi is going to be reporting after the bell today. And tomorrow morning, you get RPM and DAL both scheduled to report. Those could, those are going to be watched closely. Okay, now we're moving on over to Europe, which, Europe is back open. I mean, they were closed, but they have turned. I mean, Europe was up big. I mean, I saw the DAX up 150 points. Guess what? Now it's down 80. It's down 0.35%. The FTSE, which was up 20, is now down 10, or lower by 0.9%, 0.09%, about a tenth of 1%. But the CAC was up over 1.5%. It's now only up 0.23%. I mean, financials were really gaining earlier this morning. But, you see those markets have turned from positive to negative, and that's really going to be, seeing which is also indicative of what we're seeing here in the U.S. because the S&Ps were higher this morning around 5 a.m., but have since turned negative. And really, it comes down to what's happening in the Middle East, and you turn over to Asia last night, and Asia was pretty much flat. I mean, the Nikkei gained 15 points or 0.03%. I mean, you did see some positive action in financials and tech stocks, but Shanghai up 0.26%, rather marginally. But the attention is really on oil, and oil, which was lower earlier, has since turned, and now it's trading higher. You got WTI at 115.81. That's up 3.02%. You got Brent trading 111.09. That's up 1.20%. How do I say this? The market's preparing for increased hostilities, which could occur this evening at 8 p.m. The potential ceasefire remains a possibility, but any attacks on energy facilities is going to really, push oil prices higher. I mean, I wouldn't, 120 for WTI is not out of the question. It could, could go even higher than that, depending on the damage that's done. After the bell today, you get the American Petroleum Institute. They're going to be releasing their inventory estimates for last week. I don't think that's going to have a major effect on oil prices because right now it's all Iran. And if an agreement is in reach, will Trump have the wherewithal to continue on with his threat, or will he pull back and say, I want to be a nice guy and give them more time? I don't think he knows. So it's really a state of confusion. And when you're in this state of confusion, markets react negatively. And that's one of the reasons we are seeing oil prices spike this morning. No clear-cut direction. After the bell today, we got Levi Strauss, ticker LEVI. They're going to be reporting earnings. EPS is 37 cents, expected move. It's about $2, a little over $2 is what the expected move is going to be. Delta Airlines, ticker DAL, they're releasing tomorrow morning. Their EPS is 64 cents. Expected move is about $5 after they release. Don't really love either one of them. I got to say, in terms of economic data, at 8:30 a.m. we get the Fed durable goods orders. That report's coming out. In terms of Fed speak, 12:35 p.m. we're going to hear from Chicago Fed Bank President Austin Goolsbee. Then at 5:50 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to hear from Fed Governor Philip Jefferson, who's also scheduled to speak. Okay, let's move on to some of the stocks that are coming out with headlines like Apple. Their foldable iPhone it's apparently hitting engineering snags. Shipments delays are possible. Amazon, AMZN reached a delivery pact with the U.S. Postal Service. Meta Platforms, they're stepping up their, pay salaries for AI experts, senior engineers, project leads, what have you. They're offering the best pay scale out there. They really have always had a good pay scale. It's really tied to stock performance, but Meta Platform continues to step up, trying to win the game of talent. Tesla, SpaceX laid out its IPO details, targets an early June roadshow. In terms of Dow Jones 30 news, Boeing and the U.S. Department of War reach a 3-year pact for missile defense system. UNH, United Healthcare, stocks up big. After Trump's administration planned higher payouts to Medicare insurers. Remember, a couple months ago they said 1%, and I was like, that's too. It's not going to be 1%. Came in, over 2.5%. So yeah, the 1% was just foolish to think that was going to actually happen. Microsoft, B of A adds Microsoft to its U.S. number one list. That's their top convictions. They also put on Spotify and Viking VIK. They were also added to that list. In terms of merger news, Pershing Square, they offered to buy Universal Music for around $60 billion. In terms of shareholders meeting, Lennar, ticker LEN, the home builder, they're holding a shareholders meeting tomorrow. In terms of catalyst calls, Guardian Health, ticker GH, they were added to the Citi's 90-day upside catalyst watch list, as well as Thermo Fisher, TMO, Tom Michael Oscar. They were also added to the 90-day catalyst watch list. Okay, let's talk about a pick for today. I got to go back to Verizon, ticker VZ. Safety play, volatile markets, unclear direction. Verizon's typically a good choice in these types of situations. You look at yesterday's call volume, 19,963 calls versus 10,644 puts. Open interest, 587 on the call side, 474 on the put side. It's about the price target. This is a high dividend quality stock, but I'm looking for a little bit of weakness. 48.85 is kind of my entry price there. I think I could hit it, 48.85, and we could see some gains in that stock because, if Trump launches aggressive action this evening, the one stock that will less likely be hit is Verizon. And if they don't do it, the one stock that still has potential that's a little bit beaten up is Verizon. So I like it on both fronts. I think VZ could outperform either way. It's not going to have a significant move, but I do think 1% is absolutely possible. Okay, now we're moving on. Let's talk about the stocks that are hitting the tape this morning to see if we've got any action in the last 15 minutes or so. Let's see. Delta Airlines raised checked baggage fees on domestic routes. CXM Sprinkle announces next wave of AI native customer experience in the spring of 2026. Booz Allen BAH surpasses more than 5 million Motiva devices in the market. Joby Aviation, ticker JOBY, announces partnership with Aerospace Intelligence. U.S. military conducted strikes on military targets on Karg Island. That's why you've seen the SPs fall. Getting ready. That's all I'm seeing this morning. Okay, let's move on to our pick of the day from yesterday, which yesterday's pick was good. I mean, RTX Corp, Richard Tom X-Ray. I mean, the stock opened up at 195.93, below my 196 entry point. Then it rallied all the way up to 108.41 and closed at 108.33. There's your 1% gain. So RTX was a winner. All right, traders, that concludes today's podcast. You guys know what to do. Let's go out there and let's make some green.